Hello once again, Monster Hobbies Model Car Garage Mechanics, and welcome back to another great unboxing video. So a while ago on my YouTube channel, and you can find this in the playlist, I ended up unboxing one of these great Model T kits of the past. This is the 1927 Ford Model T police car, and I was fortunate enough to get the other police car, which is what we're going to be looking at today. This is the 1925 Ford Model T panel van. So without further ado, let's go down to the bench and see what's in the box. And now we go all the way back to the 1920s, where we get to unbox this amazing AMT 1925 Ford Model T Paddy Wagon. That was quite a lot of things to say there. So take a look at this really cool illustration. Now here we have a more 60s modified race type street rod right here. And we have the 20s policeman apprehending this criminal here, while his accomplice is going to hit the policeman with a upright base. What an image. I can see maybe AMT getting in some problems here with this kind of illustration. Maybe they could just do it this way now if they're going to re-release this kit. But overall, it is quite a neat little model. Here we can see the features of the kit. We have a chrome pressure tank, bulb horn, chrome cowl lanterns, chromed drop front axle. We have the Lincoln dual overhead cam V8 engine. Now I did also build these engines in my tip and tech section, so you can check those out on this website as well. We have a section radiator and shell, the steering wheel, and the gear shift lever. And here we have the stock Model T engine, Roadster down top, Roadster up top, stock headlights, stock wheels and tires, stock interior, and the stock steering wheel. And if I just slide the box over a little bit, if you guys don't mind, we have a keg gas tank, shortened truck bed, custom Roadster interior with the wraparound interior or the separate bucket seats. We also have Goodyear drag slicks, 4 Winfield chrome mag wheels, and 4 vinyl tires. So again, a lot's in this kit in order for you to build it multiple ways. And here we have the T-Bucket Roadster with the pickup truck back end. And if I move the box over, you can see another version of this kit with the flames on the firewall or the cowl of the body, and then the beer keg in the back. And you'll notice it says Paddy Wagon everywhere on here. Now with this kit, you can build it either stock or custom, but I do believe you get 2 complete cars in this one, like all the AMT 1925 Ford Model T kits. Now according to ScaleMates, this model car kit came out in the summer of '69. That's right, 1969. And it shares the basic frame engine chassis as the rest of the AMT Model T kits. And afterwards, AMT used this same C-cab as well as the back end to create the Fruit Wagon, which I've also unboxed on this channel. Now this model kit has been reissued later on, but I can't find any information on ScaleMates as to when the other kits were reissued. However, one thing that they did change is they removed this entire scene here from the box top, so the reissue actually looks more like that with a white space where my hand is. So now without further ado, let's take the lid off this kit, this golden classic. Now I was able to get this model kit from my friend John Harries, who passed away, from his, I guess you'd call it, estate sale. And it has been sort of messed around with a bit, but overall it's pretty much all here. So here we have the wonderful instructions, and there is 2 decal sheets inside here. So somebody had a different kit and they kind of amalgamated bits and pieces into this one. But luckily everything is here for complete unboxing. So it seems like somebody had a tall T. So I've got an extra set of glass for that. And I put the parts into the Ziploc bag so they wouldn't get messed up. Here we have a set of factory stock fenders. We also have the street rod, or yeah, body. You can build the stock as well. Somebody glued the turtle deck onto the back, but I think actually I could, there we go. All right, problem solved. And then here we have what's left of the chrome parts tree. We have the sprue for the C cab. Then we've got the complete chrome undercarriage. And I've got a whole bunch of wheels and tires here, as well as more of the body pieces in this bag. And we've got some frames and engines that are sort of built and semi-built. And then more of the factory Model T components. Here we have the instruction sheet for our Ford 1925 Model T cop-out paddy wagon, with that wonderful box top illustration again from 1969. This almost makes me think of something you would see on the Batman TV show, you know what I mean? With the fully hot-rodded Model T and then these characters in the back, you know, like, uh-oh, this looks like a crime for Batman, you know, whatever going on. So here it says, in this kit you have 2 complete cars to build. If the stock paddy wagon is your choice, you can also build the custom Roadster. If the custom paddy wagon is your choice, you can also build the stock Roadster. Okay, and then it goes over, look at the instructions and all that. For the neatest job, the various sub-assemblies and components should be painted before any chrome parts are attached. What I find interesting with this instruction sheet is that it's printed in blue ink, which there was a time period in model kit history when the instructions were actually printed with blue ink, and I've got a couple of kits around here with that, but then later on they changed to black and white. I guess the idea was to make this look like a blue printed image. Anyway, what we have is our stock Roadster paddy wagon engine, which of course is the standard flathead Ford 4-cylinder Model T block. And as you can see, it's about 6 pieces. Right and left hand side engine block for 2. The cylinder head is 3. Intake and exhaust is 4. The oil pan and transmission pan for 5. And the fan itself for 6. Now here we have the custom Roadster paddy wagon engine, and this again is that Lincoln MEL motor, and Danny the dog and I built a couple of these in our video collection here. So you got a lot of intake manifold options here, which is really cool. So what we have is our right and left hand side engine block, cylinder heads, valve covers, dual coils up here. Then we have our oil pan, our fan belt and pulley and generator assembly. We have a magneto up here, log intake manifold with 6 dual carburetors. We have the ram stacks as well as carburetor balls. And if you don't want to do, oh wait, here we also have the more standard blower and intake manifold. We have a Spalding flamethrower ignition up here. And we have just a set of tricarbs with those horns as well as the balls. And if you don't want to use the tricarbs, you can use the Latham blower up here with the side draft carburetors and the little air cleaners, as well as this crazy looking belt and pulley. So it does say to use a magneto with the blower, but use the flamethrower ignition with the other 2 intake manifolds. So what way would you build this engine? Let me know in the comments down below. Our next panel shows our stock Roadster or paddy wagon chassis, depending on how you build it. Here we have the stock frame, and you glue your engine in there. We also have the rear stock spring and the rear drive shaft and axle. We have our radius tie rods up front, as well as the front axle, and once all these components are installed, you can then get your front wheels and tires and then slide them into the metal axle, slide them through the plastic axles front and rear, and then attach these great 4 hubcaps, which are chrome, onto the wheel ends. Now if custom Roadsters and paddy wagons are your scene, man, then we actually have this Z frame right in here. And we've got our front radius rods. We have the chrome front axle in 2 pieces, as well as the tie rod. Metal axles again hold the wheels in place. And here we have the 2-speed rear axle with the ends in here, as well as a chrome spring, shock absorbers, and these 2 rear radius rods which attach to the front ones. Then we've got 3-piece rear and front tire assemblies, wheel assemblies. So we've got our rear wheels going in place with these sunken in wheel backs and our slicks. Now you'll notice that there is no center cap right on the back wheel, but there is in the front, so just keep that in mind. These are Terra Thrust wheels, as it says. Really exciting stuff for the 60s. Next we get into our final assemblies. So they're starting off by showing us the stock Roadster, and it is saying to trim off the package tray from the seat. So again, we've got the Laurel and Hardy seat here with the option or the additional package tray, and this was for the tall T. So originally this package shelf was in the tall T to go between the rear window and the back of the seat. So it says to cut that off. Anyway, we have our completed frame down here. You add in your brake, or you put your fenders on first, add in the brake handle through the hole in the fenders. And then we have the steering column and the steering wheel, the turtle deck, the Roadster body, the seat, our pedals, the Model T pedals. We also have the seat cushion going on. We have a choice of folded top or the top up. There's our windshield with the glass going in. We've got our dashboard here, the stock firewall, our 2-piece headlights with the lens and the bezel. We have our hood, which you can also fold up. We've got our radiator cap, radiator and crank, and our Model T license plate. Now I have built these on the YouTube channel as well, so any tips you need are in those videos. Here we have our final assemblies for the custom Roadster. So again, we have that body and the turtle deck. Now you can also add in the shortened truck bed with the tailgate. Here's the taillights and rear Nerf bar ideas for the back of the turtle deck. You could forget the turtle deck or the shortened truck bed. And here's the keg gas tank. It has a top and bottom, 2 ends, a keg handle, and the gas cap. We have the custom interior bucket here with the steering wheel going in. We also have the custom dashboard and chrome insert. The window frame is the same as the stock one, but you can cut the windows and have them flipped up. We also have this the windshield supports, which will be on either side. There's our Lincoln engine in place and then you glue the headers in. We have a drag link. We also have custom headlight bezels, which will come off here with different headlights. We have a cut down radiator in 2 pieces, custom firewall, more modern pedals on here. So your brake, your clutch, and your parking brake. Sorry, what am I saying? Gas pedal, brake, and clutch. I've got that cold that's going around. 2 custom tail lamps, 2 lanterns, and then this cool gear shift lever. And you can add in your up top, or even, I guess you could put the convertible top on here, although I'm not sure how it would glue to the awesome interior. Here we have the instructions to build our stock or custom Paddy Wagon body, and as you can see, the image is upside down, so we're looking at it from the bottom. So what we have is the cowl and windshield frame right here, and you would glue your glass in place, and then add your stock instrument panel underneath to the back of the cowl, or you can use the 2-piece custom dashboard, glue it to the same space. Then we're going to build up our cab. So we've got the 2 cab sides, the cab roof, and the cab back, and then a seat base, and you glue it to the rib here, and then you glue your stock seat to the base. In the back, we've got our van roof, our van rear doors, the floor extension, and the two sides. And as looking at how to build this, it actually starts here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Here we have the final step in building the stock Paddy Wagon, and it starts over here with the fenders being glued to the chassis, followed by the brake handle going into the hole here. Then we have our stock pedals being dropped in place on the floorboards. Then you're going to drop your van body onto the fender assembly. And from there, you're going to put in your steering wheel, steering column, and stock firewall right into here. Now there is a step here. It says steering column assembly. Slide steering column through the hole in the firewall. Do not cement. Cement firewall to the cowl. Locate the end of the steering column through the engine compartment to end of tie rod. Location shown in chassis assembly. So you're taking this little ball down here and you're finding that one little piece on the tie rod and you're gluing the ball onto the end of the tie rod. Now it is a bit dicey on how you do this, or not really dicey, but tricky, because this whole thing is not glued in place, so it's going to want to fall down. You're going to try to grab the steering wheel with a pair of tweezers and then feed this end in through here. It is a little bit of a snake getting in there, but it is possible. I've done it a few times. And then you're going to cement the steering wheel to the pin on column. So yeah, that's basically what you're doing in there. Now, after all that tomfoolery is done, you're going to put the radiator onto this part of the front fenders, slip the crank, and it actually goes in through the oil pan. You got your radiator cap on there, and then wherever number 8 went to, oh, your headlight lenses are going in here into the bezels, and they're being glued onto those little pegs right there. Then you can drop your hood in place. But what I like to do is have the hood up against the cowl, put that in place, then put the radiator in, because you can align the radiator with the top ridge of the hood in order to get that all nice and straight. You can also fold the hood up. Now, if you're doing that, make sure you get all this aligned and glued on first, then fold your hood up. Now, here we have the back of the van. There are the grab handles which glue up to the sides, and then 2 rear steps, one underneath each door, and then you would glue the license plate on. Plate taillight to left fender, so it's going over here. Now for those wishing to build that groovy ride on the front of the box, here we have our custom Paddy Wagon instructions. So first off, it says to take the 2 custom bucket seats, glue them to the floorboard. Second off, take the custom steering wheel and glue it into this hole right here. And then it says to take the shift lever and glue it into the hole in the transmission down below. Step 4 is the floorboard to body assembly. Turn van body upside down. Slide floorboard under rib at rear of van body and cement into position. So that would drop into here. Next up, you add your pedals to the back of the custom firewall, and then you would glue the firewall into place on the cowl. Then it says assembled van body to chassis. Make sure shift lever goes through hole in middle of floorboard. So once this part is all glued together, then you snake that hole in your floorboard. Drop it on the top of the shift lever, snake it down here right to the bottom, glue it onto your Z section frame rails. Now, where is 8? 8 is the headers, which are gluing onto the side of the engine block. And then number 9 is the drag link going right here. It says locate to front wheel back, locate to the body at the other end. Then we have our custom headlights. These are going to the frame behind the shock absorbers, and the clear lens is going in place there. We get our 2-piece radiator, and that glues up to the front here. And then, where is number 13? Right here, cowl lights being glued onto the side of the body with pins. And then 14 is the tail light lanterns being glued onto the side of the body here We also have our 2 steps going underneath the doors, and then for number 16 we have our grab handles. Here we have all the white plastic components to build up the Paddy Wagon. Now the detail on here is not really too exciting, however there are some great key points. So what we have is the Paddy Wagon sides, the little piece of wood here for the seat to sit on. We have the roof for the cab. We have the sides of the cab. We have the back window for the cab. We also have the rear doors for the box part of the Paddy Wagon. The floor extension. We have our grab handles. I have 1 step here, so I might have to make another one somehow. I've got our cowl and windshield assembly, the roof to the box, and then I've got the custom floor pan right in here. Now, bringing this up to the camera, you can see that there is some nicely detailed wood grain here. Turning it over, we see mold marks, which you can easily file down or fix up with your number 16 hobby blade. We have the rear doors. These are of note because you've got 3 hinges per door side. You also have the cool looking windows in here with the mesh. There is a bit of flash inside that mesh, so that's going to be interesting to clean out. We also have the door handles and a lock on one side, and on the back it's a flat panel with some mold marks and a little bit of mold release agent in there. And then just looking at the cab side, we have the little doors with the door handle in place and lots of mold marks. So get ready to clean down all those mold marks and you should have a nice kit once it's all assembled. Here are the components I need to build the stock frame, chassis, and some other details to our Model T. What we have is the stock frame, and you can see that the exhaust pipe is molded in place. So if you've got a drill, drill out the back end to make it look a little more realistic. We have the steering column, we have our radiator, we have the tie rods and cross members, we have the pedals, the license plate, the handle here. We also have our right and left hand side engine block, cylinder head, oil pan, the fan, the steering wheel, license plate, the crank for the Model T, the spare tire for the Roadster. We have all 4 wheels here, and it's interesting that the hubcap is glued on because on later kits it had the hubcap molded in place. We also have the dropped top, the headlight bezels, the intake and exhaust manifold with the updraft carburetor. I've got the dashboard for the stock one here. We also have more license plates out the back. And then I've got my rear axle, but one of the rods broke. I have the part of it right here. Now I might actually just make a new rod out of metal or something. We'll see. You got your windshield frame, and we also have the stock ride height axle. Now, the rear leaf spring is right here. Here we have all the custom components of the kit. Now, somebody was building this before, and they wanted the street rod. And now what we have here is the Spalding flamethrower ignition. We have the oil pan. We have the dual carb log manifold setup, which is glued together. Even has some wires coming out here. I guess they're trying to hook up the fuel lines. I've got the fan belt, pulley, and generator right there. We also have the pickup truck back end, the Z'd frame, and as you can see, there's the Z, painted a nice tester's yellow. I also have the rear axle, and this is painted with the tester's flat yellow, which is really interesting. We got our windshield frame, and unfortunately one of the pegs broke off. We have the little barrel in the back, 2 pieces. This is the ends of the barrel here. Gear shift lever, the fan belt and pulley. We have the seats for the Paddy Wagon. Then we have the interior for the tea bucket. And I do love that pattern on there. The pleated, I guess, or tuft, or whatever it is. And they painted this with Tester's flat military brown, I believe that paint color is called. Not a bad job, looks okay. Then we have the built up Lincoln engine, which will have to be cleaned up and stripped down and whatever. But there you go. Got an intake manifold. I guess that's like a blower style. Now, I'm not sure if these white pieces are for this kit. Again, it's a little bit questionable as to where they came from. But there is the tricarb manifold. We have the steering wheel and the custom dashboard, as well as a chopped down radiator and those side intakes for the, let's see what the instructions say. Those are the side draft carburetors for the Latham blower. That's what I was trying to think of. The belt does look correct, actually. And what about the intake manifold? I don't know where this one came from because it's not actually shown in the kit. It is one for a blower, though, because it has that great big grid underneath. So at least we know that part is true. Here we have the components to build our stock Model T, and the previous owner was trying to build the street rod T-bucket out of this, so that's why these parts are painted yellow, as we've seen with the frame and the engine previous. So what we have is the seat bottom, and then we have our seat back here, as well as the gas can sitting underneath the seat, which is prototypical to the true Model T. And we've got our package shelf back here for the tall T version of the kit. And then we've got our fenders with the floorboard in place. We have our up top, our firewall, our Roadster body, and the turtle deck. Now, I haven't really been bringing parts up into the camera like in previous unboxings, and that's basically because all these components on these 1925 Model T kits are exactly the same. It's only the bodies that are included with the kits that change, so that you can build stuff like the Paddy Wagon, or the Fruit Wagon, or any of the other kits that are out there. So I will bring this up into the camera this time around. And what we have is the nice floorboard in here with a wonderful floor mat on the front. And it's interesting that they put the wood grain up here because in all the versions of this kit, this always gets covered up with body panels or the seat or something like that. So you don't really see the wood grain up here, but you do see it on the bottom. So make sure that you paint that nicely in order to make it look like wood, because the frame rails basically go alongside here and there is a lot of visual area. Now there's mold marks up underneath, as well as the brace in here for the front fenders, which is quite accurate. Turning it back over, you can see the textured plate in here with the Ford name. So again, that is always some nice detailing in there. Here we have our seat bottom, and up underneath there are some mold marks, so you might want to get rid of those in order to make it look nice and smooth, because this is basically like the hood of the car. It drops in place right like that, and then you get your nice seat in there. Now that package shelf is on there, so keep it if you've got a tall T. Swap the interiors out, because the more recent tall T kits, they actually remove this package shelf, and that is from upgrades for the Roadster, and they never put it back in. So make sure that you keep this one for those tall Ts. The rest of the seat will interchange. There are mold marks on the top of the gas tank, so you'll have to clear those up with your number 11 hobby blade in order to make it look nice and smooth, or simply just glue the seat down and never, take it off to show people how cool that is. Here's our up top, which is a nice one-piece molding. Mold marks up in the corner there, which is easy to scrape out. And a couple of little weird pin things that have to get removed. Just basically clean this up. The top always fits nicely on the Roadster body, like so. Now getting into the Roadster body itself, there are hinges for the doors on the passenger side, but it's just an indentation on the driver's side, and that's because of that lever that sticks up in here. You can't really have an opening door and then, you're crawling in on top of a lever. So that's why it's only hinged on the one side. And then we get into our turtle deck in the back, and it's got the nice hinges molded in here and the latch. So this little area just opened up. Now, if you did want to see that wooden floorboard from the top, the only way to do that is to actually cut out that door and hinge it. Because then, once you open this door, you would see that little bit of wood grain that's just there. But as you can see, if you don't do that, there goes the top of the floorboard. And now that's hidden for all time. So actually I was quite fortunate that the guy built this as a street rod, or attempted to anyway, and left the package shelf on here because, as you can see, it would be chopped off on the other Model Ts so that the back is visible from the back of the seat. And then we'll just put the firewall in place, and you can see a lot of nice detail on that firewall. But overall, these are your basic parts to build up your little Roadster. Here we have our wonderful chrome parts tree with all these excellent components. What we have is the headers. We've got the fuel tank and the fuel tank end here. We've got all kinds of fire extinguishers and Nerf bars, as well as little mirrors and the keg for the barrel. We also have these side lights. We've got radius rods, we've got our radiator, we've got our chrome axle and rear spring, we've got the dashboard insert, shock absorbers, Latham blower, a roll bar, antennas. These are the hubcaps for the wheels, as well as the horn and the pedals. So bringing this up to the camera, you can see just how nice the chrome is for 1969. Again, a lot of cool details. We have seen these in all the other 25 Model T kits, so there isn't really much new on here. However, it still is nice to see chrome. Here I have the glass components. Now this is for the tall T, so I'm not quite sure why it's in here, but at any rate, we do have the universal parts, if you could just get rid of this. We have our headlights here, and the smaller headlights for the custom. We've got the stock windshield and then the cut down window here. The only piece that would be missing would be the little glass for the up top, but that's easily created using just a flat sheet of clear plastic from like Evergreen or Plastruct or some of those guys. Overall though, the detail being simple is quite nice. Now your headlights, these should be going north and south and not east and west. So they're going to be like that on your car. But overall, you can see how nice the clear glass is, and it will look good in your model. Here we have the built-up wheels from the previous owner, and I noticed something on here that they actually did not look at the wheel assembly for the instructions, and they've put the front wheels in the back tires and the back wheels in the front tires, because you can see the grease cap is here and not here. So there is a bit of a backward thing. Now these tires are actually the two-piece tires from the past, the ones that nobody liked, and AMT eventually replaced them. Now I'm not sure if I can get these apart. I'm hoping, because then I can actually put the wheels the right way around. But the original owner did make a nice attempt at trying to get the white letters on here, which is always neat. Also included are these drag slicks. These are the one-piece Goodyears that AMT used to have that are not bad, but they do have their little issues. These ones seem to be nice. Usually what happens is, over time, that hole drifted a little bit, and you get like the lumpy rotating wheel, and that's never any good. But overall, these are quite cool looking wheels and tires. Here we have the original decal sheet for this kit, and I'm not really too sure if this would just explode once it hits the water or not, because it is from 1969. Now apparently I could spray this over with some clear lacquer, and that would prevent exploding because the lacquer paint would hold it together. But take a look at all these different images. So here for the custom, you have some flower power stuff going on from 1969 with the city floral truck, which again is quite cool. Maybe you could incorporate this into a stock 20s version. You've got
Buns Bakery, Tough Truck, equipped with champion spark plugs for your race car, moving violation, you got the police logo, the psychedelic relic, the teetotter, and Cop Out over here, as well as an NHRA Association decal. And then Ford logos, and it looks like Winfield's Championship. I think that's what it says. Now, these decals used to be silk screened on here, as opposed to the more modern printing methods. So all these colors would be individually laid out on this sheet, and basically one screen goes over, they put the paint on it, then the next screen goes over, they put like yellow or something on there, and that sort of thing, and they build these all up. So it does look quite nice. Here I have the other decal sheet that was included in the kit, and I do believe this is for the Tall T, because here we have the padded coupe top, which is a neat looking decal, painted with a cream color and then masked out along the edges for that line, and then spray painted here to get that little effect. Really cool stuff. That's late 60s style. Here we have a nice red stripe to make your T look a little racy. We have this neat looking plaque here, another NHRA decal, the cowl flames, which may have even been hand painted back in the day, the phone booth with a little rotary phone end. Modern kids wouldn't understand that. No, I'm just kidding. Teetotter. Then we've got genuine Ford parts in small and big. We've got for sale if you want to sell your kit. I'm not sure what these say. They're more racing stickers or decals. Looks like a 25 3/4 or something on here. And then we've got number 82 AA. You lose the end. That would be the back of your race car. Autolite decals. Got the power down here. We've got again that Winfield Championship. Hallebrand engine equipment, moon eyes. Then this one here, I can't even read what that says, but it looks like another American Hot Rodder kind of decal. So again, a lot of cool stuff on here, but I do think if I were to use these, I'd have to spray them because they are silk screened again.
Well, I really hope you enjoyed that episode where we got to look at the 1925 Ford Model T Paddy Wagon. Again, another really cool kit that you can build one of two ways, as either the Hot Rod Paddy Wagon or the factory stock version. And to make my diorama really complete, I'm going to stick with the factory stock version. Next week, get ready because we're going to continue with our series, once all the parts stop rattling, with this amazing 1927 Ford Model T fire truck. Now this is another one of those great old Model Ts in the collection from AMT, and this one, as well as the Paddy Wagon, are both pretty rare right now, so hopefully round 2 in the future we'll re-release these great kits, so once again we can have a complete series of all the Model Ts for our diorama. So pardon me, until next time everybody, don't forget that if you want to get some great model car kits from us at Monster Hobbies, visit our website at www.monster-hobbies.ca. Like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and family. And until next time everyone, happy model building, and we'll see you in the next video.